Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking. And today you can see in the background, we're going to be talking about mercurial topics because we've got a brain there, you can see. And you can see we've got the planar side and then we've got that very complicated side to it. So yes, Mercury is entering the sign of Cancer, which on one hand is not necessarily a easy position. And the reason being is because Cancer is all about emotions and Mercury is all about logic. So of course, it's quite hard to bring the two in balance. So Mercury wants to approach everything from a logical perspective, but Cancer says, no, we need to listen to our intuitions. Now, of course, Mercury spent a minute more than he usually does in the sign of Gemini due to the retrograde motion he has. And I feel like kind of it was actually needed because there is North Node there too, meaning that we had to kind of, we needed the ruler there to get the North Node going. So, but now Mercury is ready to move on. Mercury is ready to jump into the sign of Cancer, which I think has got some positive energies around that too, because Mercury was very distorted in the sign of Gemini, and Cancer is all about the past. It represents the crab, right? So the crab moves sideways. It goes one step ahead, and then two steps backwards. So I feel like the thought process of Mercury is gonna slow down a little bit. But let's just discover what Mercury is. So Mercury is a trickster. It's a thief. It was the god of merchandisers or merchants, the god of messenger, the protector of travelers. So now this is where we've got, again, another little problem coming up. Mercury wants to travel, Cancer wants to stay at home. Mercury wants to sell things, Cancer is your home environment. So it's very possible that we're gonna want to sell our home or we're gonna put it on the market. We're expecting better money now. I feel like the real estate industry will be impacted actually with this Mercury in the sign of Cancer. Let's not forget that the sun is in also here. However, the sun on the 11th of July, that's the ingression of Mercury into the sign of Cancer, is on 19 degrees. So he has been around for a while. It was spotlighting the Cancerian house for you. But now Mercury kind of makes you to think about it as well. So have a look at where Cancer is, because that's getting intensified a little bit for you by having two planets now there. Now, Mercury is all about multiplicity, ambiguity. It kind of creates those type of divine chaos. So think about it as in, during Mercury retrograde period, our laptops break, and then, we want to be traveling, we leave our passport at home, you lose your business account, for instance, and all those type of things, right? So Mercury tends to cause sometimes a little bit of a chaos, but it's not doing it because it wants to harm. It just wants to be playful. Now, therefore, Mercury has got slight issues in sign of Cancer because Cancer, okay, I play with the kids, but do not expect me to go out there and go to a fun fair, for instance. So Cancer is the most potent or the strongest when they are near their home environment. So Mercury, which is an analytical planet, it's more about deconstructing things, pulling things apart because I have to examine them inside out. But actually, Cancer is more about building those strong foundations and the nest to our family home. So that's where, again, these two are clashing a little bit. Now, Mercury also plays a significant role when it comes to psychology and astrology, because astrology is all about spotting patterns, and psychology is all about tapping into someone's mind. And Mercury rules the mind. It governs the area of how you speak, write, and basically your thinking process. Mercury is your academic skills. So it might be the fact that you are, however, it's July, so no one really studies in July, I guess, unless you are, I don't know what countries it's not summer there. So yeah, I mean, the Southern Hemisphere, I'm guessing they study. I'm not too sure, to be frank. But anyway, imagine that Mercury is actually sitting at home studying, right? Or it just wants to do something around the home environment, a little bit of a DIY, because Mercury rules anything which is handmade. Now, do not forget to check what Mercury also rules in your birth chart. It rules the sign of Gemini as well as Virgo, because yes, we mentioning here the general topics of Mercury, right? But it rules two areas of life in your chart as well. And therefore, maybe Mercury rules your 5th house. So it's going to talk about the fertility in your chart, or it might rule your 8th house and it's going to talk about the tax issues. So you're going to have to kind of put the energy into that house, whatever it rules, the ones I'm describing to you. Now, Cancer is a cardinal, a feminine water sign, and it is ruled by the moon. So the Cancer is very much about the spirit which enters the physical body. So basically, the Cancerian sign is like the temple of your body. So in many cases, if you want to be looking at the temple of something in the chart, you can actually look at, for instance, you want to be seeing the core of the relationship. So you might want to be looking at where the 7th house ruler is. Let's suppose it's in the 11th house in Scorpio, right? So you want to be looking at the center of that planet. And that's going to be the 4th house away from your 11th, which is 11, 12, 1st, and 2nd. So that's going to be the 2nd house there. Okay, so that could be something, the center, the core of the relationship. But anyway, it's just a little bit of a technical stuff for advanced students. But you must check where the moon is when Mercury ingresses into the sign of Cancer, as well as if you are analyzing your natal chart, you must look at where moon is to get more indication of your Mercury. So let's say that this Mercury is getting kind of pulled apart because I want to be approaching my emotions from a logical point of view. But if your moon is going to be in Pisces, the ruler of Mercury, the dispositor of Mercury, probably it's not going to be as strong for you as, for instance, having moon in the sign of Capricorn, which is also very emotionally detached, or in the sign of Aquarius as well. Right, so we tend to be talking about in those cases more internal feelings. So Mercury wants you here to verbalize something which bothers you, right? And it wants to kind of give again some type of life back. Mercury rules the breath. So Mercury in Cancer is something to do with a rebirth, actually. Like, you know, when you are on like this life mask type of things, because they want to kind of revive you, right? So don't take it in a literal way, but it wants you to kind of take a fresh breath. Why is that? Because Cancer is the beginning of the summer in the Northern Hemisphere. So meaning that your energy level can start depleting because the sun has already reached its highest peak by declination, and then slowly but surely it's going to start losing its light. So therefore the days are going to get shorter, right? So we can start with plenty of passion, but then it dies off. So any type of planet in Cancer wants to kind of revive you. So as I mentioned, I think it's a little bit harder position for Mercury, because Mercury uses those logics, and Cancer is all about listening to the emotions and the intuitions. And Mercury is very reluctant to use his own intuition. It's more about facts. So the emotions are fact-based here as well. But Cancer has got that slight survival instinct to it, because I have to provide for the family. We need those safety nets. It's all about security. So Mercury is who is like juggling, because it's a trickster. It is curious. It wants to try new things. So it feels, especially at the beginning of sign, a little bit frustrated. Mercury is outward looking ahead. It's more future orientated because it's a traveler. So it never kind of sits down. It wants to be on the road. And Cancer is inward, it's feminine, it's more home related. So, but I feel like Mercury going into the sign of Cancer, it's going to bring you some fresh ideas around your Cancerian house. I feel like it tells you that it's time to get out of your head, because you've had plenty of ideas in the sign of Gemini. You probably explored plenty of your possibilities, but now it might actually tell you to sit down and then sort them out a little bit. Right? I feel like Mercury in Gemini could have amplified some of your anxiety as well. But in Cancer, we're going to have to rationalize we're going to have to verbalize our feelings. So, so in that sense, it's definitely a very great energy. Giving yours to your feelings, giving voice to your emotions, naming something, what is going on in your life. Tapping into those darker places, because Cancer is the most private part of your chart, right? So, but it recommends to slow down first. And then once you kind of figured out, you've done the math and you've written down the pros and the cons. That's what Mercury does. Then we can come up with a conclusion, and then we can verbalize our emotions. Think about that Cancer rules your stomach. So whenever there is a situation which is kind of like bugging you, listen to your stomach a little bit. What is going on there? Are there any butterflies there, or are there any kind of like anxiety coming up, or you feel that your stomach is shrinking, or you know, it's like a balloon is sitting on top of your stomach and you don't necessarily know what to do. Then you get indications that the situation is not suitable or suitable for you, right? So that's one way Mercury in Cancer actually can decide whether others are telling them the truth or not, or how to deal with certain type of situations. Of course, when Mercury is in the sign of Cancer, your mind is influenced by your own emotions, as well as your speech patterns. Your speech patterns can actually depend on your feelings. Or Mercury in Cancer sometimes can say things one day and the next day they say something else. Why is that? Because Cancer rules your mood. So it depends on my mood, what my opinion is, right? But also it's very important to pay attention to saying the right things versus the wrong things. Cancer Mercury is very good at storytelling. Cancer is like circling around the past. So it might be, we might start remembering our ideas in the past, and then we want to kind of revive them. We kind of want to be blowing some air into those ideas. So kind of like making happen. Or it might be all about that you're going to start telling stories to your grandchildren or to your children or to your friends about the past, how much fun you had when you were, for instance, a child, right? So there is this nostalgic energy to it. Usually in the romantic fields, Mercury in Cancer brings some type of tragic romanticism into the picture. So Cancer is all about the memories, right? So imagine that I can imagine Mercury in Cancer collecting all the love letters which we wrote to the significant other, or we received from them, or we have got all these like pictures glued in a book or an album, you know, all those type of memories, and then you might start taking them out, and there is this nostalgic feeling around it. Yes, Mercury, as I said, in my opinion, is something to do with astrology. So Mercury in Cancer has got psychic abilities because it's like a very strong inner voice. But Mercury doesn't feel comfortable with that. So it might be something you're going to have to work on, study about it, right? Because Mercury is all about studying other people's emotions, studying my own emotions. That could be extremely important. 1 second, someone is ringing the bell. You know, speaking about someone ringing the bell, I had just a parcel arrived, and that's exactly what Mercury actually rules. So it was a divine moment. Yeah, so speaking about the parcels, which I did not necessarily want to mention, but you know, it might be something which is getting lost, for instance, in your home environment, and then you desperately want to find it, something you've had for years, and then you just want to see that again. Or maybe a parcel never arrives, or it gets given to the neighbors, which is very Mercurian like. That's also kind of a little bit possible there. Now, taking it further, Cancer is a caretaker. Mercury can be your sibling. So you might need to be looking after the emotional needs of your siblings, for instance. Or watch out, because friends can become a lot more clingy around this time. The clinginess comes from Cancer. Mercury can represent your friends. And then they just kind of like, the clinginess can happen like, oh, I want you to be closer to me, a little bit of a jealousy because I don't want anyone to be friends with you, or your friends might be a little bit sad, and then you're going to have to give them actually a little bit of an emotional support. That's very possible. Don't forget that Cancer talks about cooking, and Mercury is something modern. So you might actually realize that I want some modern appliances in my kitchen. So let's go and then buy some. Mercury as in business transactions. Or let's just remodel our kitchen a little bit. Maybe those American style, right? That's kind of, I think, the modern type. But anyway, so it could talk about, I want to be trying out some modern recipes, right? So maybe I'm very traditional when it comes to food. I'm very picky. And now I just want to be trying something new. But also it might be possible that I'm just longing for my mom's cooking. Cancer, right? Rules something to do with the mother archetype. Now, from a psychological perspective, watch out for your words, because sometimes it can be defensive. So Cancer is like the shell, like the crab shell, right? And Mercury is the words. So we can actually become very defensive by words. We can become a little bit argumentative as well, because we want to be protecting someone. Maybe we want to be protecting the family, our kids, or you know, I just wear a hard exterior because someone said something to me, and it makes us very emotional. So we can easily become offended during these type of energies. Cancer is a family, so you might actually feel that your friends are coming over for dinner. You're going to have some little dinner parties, or your siblings are visiting you. That's very possible. Or you might just want to be selling your home, and you want to be buying maybe a smaller one because let's say the kids have already flown out of the family nest. So I want to be just having a smaller apartment, which is enough for us. Cancer tends to be hoarding things. And Mercury is those little tiny stuff, you know, so like the stamps, the stamp collection, and I don't know, I don't have Mercury in Cancer, but I do have it in Capricorn. So I still have it somehow, the Cancerian energy with it. And I used to collect pictures of different bands, and then I glued them into like a book. And I was collecting, actually my uncle who had some mental problems. He has got Mercury in Cancer. Basically, one day he climbed up onto he was 14, he climbed up onto a electric pole, and then he got electrocuted. And then he fell down, and then since then he was basically a disadvantaged person. And he was collecting anything to do with medicine boxes. But he had so much, I can't even tell you, a full 25 square meter of room was full of boxes, and then he was organizing them, stacking them up and counting them, and he spent days there. Like you could only push him out to have some type of dinner. And I remember we were moving, I was 6 years old, we were moving to a different village, and he wanted to bring them all. And of course, my grandma said, no, you can't. So he was crying. He was at the time, he was like, yeah, about 35, 36 years old person. And let me tell you one more story about it. Sorry about the personal stories, but you might be able to learn from them. He had Mercury in Cancer. And then if you asked him in 1795, July 11th, what day was it? Then he told you, oh, that was a Saturday. And then you checked, and actually it was a Saturday. So I tested it so many times. He never made a mistake with that. So that's what really Mercury in Cancer could do to you. You can really work on those abilities. So maybe it tells you actually to learn about the pit of your stomach right now, and bring out those hidden, buried treasures and skills, what you've got within yourself. Because Mercury is a very skillful planet, right? But this Mercury in Cancer can actually arouse your maternal instincts as well. So you might want to be working on a baby project, or you might be longing for having another one, or you might just want to be pregnant again for the sake of being pregnant. There are moms who likes being pregnant, and yeah, so that might be something for them. Watch out for being a mom as well at the same time, or being around your mom, because mummies can be a little bit more smothering, and the children can get frustrated because of that. Watch out for technical problems, such as sending the wrong message to someone, or you might be sending that a little bit out of anger as well. Or on a world scale, you know, it's very possible that some passwords are going to be broken, or they want to be prying on information when it comes to, especially around governmental matters, I would say. Cancer rules anything to do with the lands. So it's very possible that you want to be selling lands, or we're going to see that the government are going to be actually selling some of their properties, or headquarters changes and so forth. That's very possible as well. I feel like the real estate is going to get affected here. And I think the real estate prices actually will start dropping in quite a few places. You might have got some of those nesting instincts you start speaking about. You might actually have to be dealing with family matters. You might just want to be reconnecting with your heritage a little bit. So asking your parents about the past, what happened, what was not happening, and kind of like overcoming those emotional stuff. You might have got some academic interest in real estate, and you think, oh, that's a good business opportunity, let me study about that. Learning about your feelings, very much related to this topic. Learning something new about your family, or family history, or just something to do with your ancestry line. Now, from a medical perspective, Mercury rules the hands. Watch out in the kitchen. we can have some type of accidents easily, unfortunately. And also watch out for anything to do with the lungs and anxiety area. So something to do with the breathing. But as I said, Cancer rules something to do with the stomach, which very much about the diaphragm. So I feel like Mercury in Cancer is actually very good for singing as well, or just reading romantic stories. Could be very, very good. Mercury's first aspect, by the way, is going to be an opposition to, Mercury's first aspect is going to be a trine to Jupiter. So definitely Jupiter will be very helpful. It's going to be expanding those ideas around our home environment, family, and so forth, what we've discussed so far. So this is my intake on Mercury in the sign of Cancer. So I hope you have liked this video, and then if you have so, then please make sure you press like, ring the notification bell, and also share it with others who are interested in astrology. The aim of this channel is more about making astrology available for everyone and to give you enough so that eventually you can analyze other people's chart, or you can go on about your own chart as well. So that's why you tend to be making these longer 30-35 minute videos about one planet in a sign, because it can mean loads of things, right? We just want to be making sure that something kind of like must be relevant to you. And yeah, so that's kind of my aim with these videos. One more thing which I wanted to actually speak to you, or kind of not speak to you, but mention that Mercury entering into the sign of Cancer, I said you must look at where Moon is, right? And Moon at the time is already going to be in the sign of Leo. So, you know, and Cancer and Leo together is very much about a cosmic couple. So I think one of the biggest message this Mercury is bringing to you is something around relationship departments, how much fun we have or how much time we spend at home. But of course, look at where these two house cusps are, and you're going to be able to get a lot more information out of that. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will see you with another video. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.